Hello, Rob Venn here. Today we're going to look at how to create a 4-page magazine on Adobe InDesign using a front cover, contents page and double page spread. Now you can find Adobe InDesign on the Start menu by going to Adobe Master Collection CS5.5 and finding the correct icon. Now once you've got that open, you'll be presented with this screen. And we're going to need to create a new document. So we're going to go to Create New Document. Now, we're going to be printing this, so we're going to make sure the intent is set to print, not web. Now, for complicated reasons, it won't let you do a double page spread and a single page front cover and contents page. So we're going to have a double page contents page. So we're going to do 5 pages instead of 4. 5. Make sure that facing page is selected. Page size we're going to go with A4. Keep orientation as portrait, not landscape. Number of columns. I want different numbers of columns on different pages, so I'm going to leave that. I can adjust it later. Margins. I would recommend measuring the margins on the kind of magazine you want to copy. It defaults at 12.7, which is a bit big, so I'm going to knock it down to 10. They'll all change, so I've got this chain link selected, so it'll all be the same. But I want the bottom one to be 15, so I'm going to unlink that and knock it up to 15. Now I'm going to go to more options, because I need a bleed. I'll explain what that is later. I'm going to make that 5mm. Click on that, they should all change. Okay. Now, this is our work area. This is our most important thing. This is our tools panel. This is the control panel. Now the control panel is context specific, so it will change depending on which tool is selected. Now what kind of tools have we got? This one is the selection tool. Normally when you hover over these, it will pop up with a little telling you what the name of it is and what the keyboard shortcut is. It's not working because I think I've got the screen recorder on, but the keyboard shortcut for this tool, the selection tool, is V for Victor, or escape. That allows you to select objects and move them around. If you want to select the content of objects, like frames for example, you have to use the direct selection tool, which is the white arrow. That's A for alpha for short, that's a keyboard shortcut. The other key one is going to be this one. This is a text box. That is T for text, obviously, the keyboard shortcut. And this one, which is the frames tool. As you can see, these ones have got little triangles in the corner. If you right click on one of those, you get up multiple options. Those are the key ones you're going to be using. As you can see, if I click on the T for text, that changes. So I've got all my text controls up here. That's my paragraph controls there. Right, now, this is our page. The black line is the edge of the page. These pink and purple ones show our gutters. Sorry, not gutters, our borders. The red line is the bleed, which again I'll come back to later. This area here and here, these are our pasteboard. We can put objects there for use later if you want. They won't show up on our actual page. Over here we've got our panels groups. These will change depending on which windows you have open. You can open and add extra ones or take them away, you can move them around, it's up to you. Of course I've got little different tabs on them. Now, these are our pages. I can skip to them by double clicking. Now, in the corner there, you can see it's got a little A. That tells us that it's based on, the design of it is based on our A master. Now these are where you can create standard page templates. It's good practice to do this. So what we're going to do to start off with is we're going to create some templates. So I'm going to right click, new master. I'm going to call it prefix A. I'm going to name it cover master. Pages 1. Okay. Now I've got that, I no longer need this one. Hold on, Shift to select both of them. I can put that in the bin. Why isn't it not binned? More like it. Right. There you go. Right, now, don't need those. Bin. Right, now, let's do a contents master. So, new master. Call it B, contents master. Number of pages 2. Okay. And a new one. We'll call this DPS for short. Oops, double page spread. DPS master. 2 pages. Okay. Now let's make this a bit more specific. Okay. By the way, to center a page, Ctrl 0. It's full screen for your page. Now, when you stack magazines on shelves, the most visible bits of it, because they overlap each other quite often, is the top or left third. So, to create some guidelines, I want a left third guideline. So, a third of 210 is 70. So I'm going to come over to my ruler. If you can't see the rulers, you can go to View and you can toggle rulers on and off using Ctrl R. Ctrl R. Right, I'm going to left click, hold, and drag a guideline out to 70 millimeters. That is where my left third is. I'm going to drag another one down to, I think about 30 millimeters. So my masthead's going to go. I could drag more of these in. I could drag one down to, I don't know, let's say 180, and say, I don't know, 240, and that's where my main cover line is going to go. Maybe I want some, you know, I don't know, maybe a banner somewhere, like on the bottom of the page. I could have it under 282 and I have a banner at the bottom. So you've got this grid now. At the moment, my page 1 is still set to my standard template, but I want my front cover to be based on that master. So I'm going to left click, drag onto there, and now that page follows that template. Okay, let's have a look at my contents master. Remember, Ctrl 0 should center it. Ctrl Shift 0 does the same. Oh, Ctrl Alt 0. Ctrl Alt 0 does the same for double page spreads. Now I want my contents master to have, let's say, 3 columns. So I'm going to go Layout, Margins and Columns, change that to 3. There you go. I want my double page spread layout to have 2 columns. There you go. Now, obviously, I'm going to drag that down onto there because that's my contents. That one onto there. That one onto there because my double page spread. And that one onto there. So now they follow the right templates. Ctrl 0. Right, okay. Now, obviously at this point I would save it. I'm going to save mine on the desktop. File. Save as. Ctrl Shift S for short. Actually, I'm not going to put it on my desktop. I'm going to put it on my hard drive. Let me see. There. I'm going to call it magazine. Right, now, first things first, I want a picture. Now, we're going to use the text frame. As you can see, rectangular frame tool is F for short, remember? And I'm going to draw this from the bleed to the bleed. There you go. Now, the reason we do that is simple. If you just had the box go to the edge of the page like that, which I don't want. If I sent it to the printers and the picture just spread to the edge of the page, there's a possibility that it doesn't actually print perfectly, and I'll end up with a bit of blank, empty white paper around the edge of my picture. To avoid that happening, I spread the picture off the edge of the page to be safe. Now, how do I put a picture in this frame? File, Place, which you can see is Ctrl D for short. That's a common shortcut, you'll use it a lot. This is a copyright free image I got offline. Click. Right, now, if I move on to the selection tool, which is V Remember, I am able to use that to move the entire frame around. If I put it there, it's off the edge of the page. Ctrl Z to put it back where I got it from. But it's not actually affecting the content of the frame. If I want to select the content of the frame, i.e. the picture itself, and manipulate that, I've got to use the direct selection tool, which is this white one here, which is A for short. Now at the moment, I've got the frame selected, so I've got the blue outline of the frame showing up. If I now, using this tool, click on the picture, as you can see, I've selected the image and I've got a brownish colour outline. I can now move that picture around within the frame. If I move it over here, for example, half the picture is now outside the frame, so it disappears. Ctrl Z to undo, put it back where I got it from. Obviously, this picture does not fit the frame. Now, I could go back over to the selection tool, A for short, remember, right click, V, fitting, fit frame proportionally. Like that. But it still doesn't fit perfectly. Now if I pull that like that, it would stretch the picture. Don't want to stretch the picture, it looks terrible. Undo. So all I have to do is make the picture bigger using the corner boxes. Now if I hold down Alt and use the mouse wheel, I can zoom out. Now if I'm going to change the picture size, always use the corner boxes, don't use the other ones. Because I want to make the picture bigger but keep the proportions. So to do that, I'm going to hold down Shift and it will maintain my aspect ratio when I change the size of it. Right, Control 0 back to full screen. Now, the picture's a bit blurry. That's because I've only put I'm only getting like a preview of what my image is going to be, a low resolution picture. Yeah, I could put it at a full resolution if I want to, but it will slow the computer down. I can go over screen mode and go on presentation to see what it would look like when it's finished. To be fair, I only downloaded a low resolution version. I could have got a better one, but I didn't. I escaped back where I was. Now, at this point, I'd save it again. Remember, File, Save, Ctrl S for short. Right, let's put some pictures, some text in there. Let's go over to here, into our Tools panel, select T for text. Keeping it within my safety margins, and go into my line there, I've now got a text box. Obviously, if I go to Selection Tool, I can move that text box around wherever I want. Right, double clicking it to text, type some text. We're going to call this Thomas Rotherham. Now, I'm going to make the size of my text bigger. Right, Ctrl A, select all. I can use this over here, look, obviously. I can pick a particular number. Quite a useful little tool though is Ctrl Shift full stop. Ctrl Shift comma. I like that, use that all the time. Does that in Word and things as well, very useful. Text is too big now. Can you see I've got a little red cross here? That means I've got text outside the confines of my text box. Right, okay, I'm happy with that. Let's go to paragraph and center it. There you go. But, bluey kind of background, black hair, black text on that's not showing up. So, what I'm going to do is, I'm going to change the colour of it. Now, I want, I think, white text with a black outline, which we've got a stroke. Now this changes my colours. Paper means white. Can't see it now though, can I? Look. So what I'm going to do instead is go on to stroke down here. Don't use registration black. That is a newspaper print black. It's kind of like a dark grey, really. So we're going to use black. And there you go. I think it'll be a bit bigger stroke actually. I can come down here. I'm going to make it 2 points. That's better. At the moment, for some reason, my text is looking quite squashed. The serif on the end of that T is disappearing at the H, isn't it? So if I select that, what I think I'm going to need to do is change the kerning, which is the gap between the text. I can do that here. That's better, but my text is still too big now, so let's make it, there you go, better. That's more like it. Right, okay. I'm going to have mag down in the bottom here. So I'm going to do another text box. Type mag. What size was that? 64. Right, let's make that the same. I'm going to italicize that. So I can use this here, which is the italics tool. There you go. Smashing. Try to make text boxes as small as you can. If you make them too big, they'll start overlapping each other and that causes problems. Now I want mag, I think, to be the same blue as a jeans, so I'm going to use the pipette tool. There you go. Let's have a look what that looks like. So I'm going to go over to the screen mode, presentation. Not bad, but I think it needs moving over a little bit. Escape. Actually, I think I'll move the picture over a little bit, actually. Double click. There, that's better. Presentation. Yeah, not bad. Time to save it again. Ctrl S. Let's have a big cover line there. Alright. Let's have a nice big display font. Let's say back to school. Ctrl A to select all. We want a nice big display font, so I'm going to make that Arial because it shows out nicely, and I'm going to change it to black, which is really, really bold. Ctrl Shift, full stop. Too dark. Let's make it the same red. Actually, I have to click off that. Let's make it the same red as her t-shirt there. That's more of a pink, really, isn't it? It's horrible, but it doesn't matter. It's only a test. Let's go to text. Give it a black outline to stand out better. There you go. Now, as you can see, the gap between the text is very big. That's because of something called the leading. If I highlight that, I can make the text close together by using this here. Rule of thumb is that it should be about 10%, whatever the text size is. So we'll make it about 66. Still too far apart for my liking. So I'm going to manually adjust this until I like the look of it. That ain't bad. I can live with that. It's not particularly nice to look at, but it will do. I'll tell you what we'll do. I'll do this. Make that a little bit bigger. And there's a couple of things I can do. What I can do perhaps is highlight that and then adjust the kerning so that it does that. So it's the same width as back 2. in fact, what I'm going to do is I'm now going to put it over here. Not make the text box as small as you can get away with. Now, that colour's not particularly working. I could fiddle with this all day, but I haven't got time. So, I would change that if I was doing this properly. Obviously, this is where your main cover lines are going to go. The biggest cover line should obviously relate to whatever that picture is. So, I'll put that in there. Don't use any more than 2, 3 maximum different fonts on the front cover. It'll look awful. So why don't we have something like, I don't know, 2016. How like that? And we've got all sorts of different fonts we can be putting in here. You know, you've got a huge selection. But try to keep it simple. So what we want is display fonts, things that are nice and big and bold and stand out well from a distance. Imagine you've got to be able to read this from, like, I don't know, 20, 30 feet away if it's sat on a magazine shelf in somewhere like W.H. Smith's, if it was a, you know, a music magazine, for example. I don't know, there's all sorts of horrible fonts on here. There you go. Again, you would just fiddle around with colours until you found something you like the look of. Yeah, you see with blue. Again, keep the colours the same as the text, 2, 3 maximum. Anyway, obviously I could mess around with that all day, but that'll give you some idea of how you do that. Let's go and look at contents pages, not contents pages, double page spreads. We'll look at how to put Ctrl Alt 0, center it, text in there. So let's have a look here. What we can do is, again, we're thinking about one page is going to be our main title, deck maybe, other page where our main text is going to go. So what we can do is, let's have a picture frame, which, remember, it needs to go to the bleed. Now that black line there is, of course, the fold between the 2 pages. So let's have something like that there. Ctrl D, remember, to place. There you go, that'll go in there. Yeah, that's fine. Okay. Right click, fitting, fit frame to content. There you go, nice and neat. Don't know why it's done that, actually. Move that over there like that a bit better. There you go. Right, okay, now we want to put some text in here, some body text. Now, there's a couple of ways of doing this. What we can do is we need a text frame. Now, we can draw some guidelines actually. So if that's down to 144, let's make 5 millimeters. Yeah, let's make that about actually about 150. There you go. Right, now we're going to put some text columns in here. Right. Okay. Now we're going to set the font. I'm going to go with Arial for this. Largely because we don't have Helvetica. I'd have picked that if I had Helvetica. Use it as regular. Now, I would suggest about a font size of about font 10 and a leading of about 11. Now, I can start typing. Alright, Ctrl A, delete. I can just fill that with some gibberish using fill placeholder text to give you some idea what it would look like. But as you can see, I've only got one text frame. Let's undo that. I want 2 of them. Now I could do all that again, but an easier way to do that is to duplicate things using Alt, drag, and now I've got two of them. Now I want anything I type in there when it gets to the bottom to start typing into the next one, so I need to link them together. So if I go on this box here, change it to a little chain, click on the other box, and they're now both linked. So anything I typed in here would go into there as well. So this time if I went type fill placeholder text, it fills both of them. As you can see, I've got overflow text for some reason. So I'll just delete anything that's on the bottom of that. There you go. Right, okay. I can just place, oops, V for selection tool, Alt, drag. Link them back together. Right, okay. I could just place a Word document in here. Again, File, Places, Ctrl D, remember. And I just find a Word document. There you go. Done that twice for some reason. That is causing problems. Delete that. There you go. Again, I've got overflow text in that, so I can just click and click into there. It'll keep doing that because obviously the Word document is bigger than the text boxes. So I'm going to undo that and go back to when I just had the gibberish in it. Remember, Alt is duplicate. Right, now click, link them together. Type, fill, placeholder text. Now, obviously there are no paragraph breaks in that. Oops. Now, I have to delete the rest of that because what you'll often find with magazines is that the first part of it, which we call the deck, is often in something like bold. So what we'll do is we'll highlight that and we go over to here and we'll make it bold. It might even be the slightly bigger font. Let's make it 12. Another thing you'll often get is something called drop capital. So if I highlight that letter R there, I can come over onto the paragraph here, and this is my drop capital tool, so I can just do something like that. These will often be in a different colour. So I'll tell you what I'll do is I'll make it the same blue as the top of a pencil. There you go. Don't make any of this text bigger than about font 12. That's about the maximum you'll find. You're also going to want to make sure that these text boxes are filled. The text should go right the way down to the bottom on both pages. I shouldn't have any empty white space on there. Over here you would have your title. I don't know. Call it something like, I don't know, student life at, let's do a bit fancy, so an at sign, TRC. And again, let's find a font we like the look of. Oh, doesn't even matter, to be honest. You've got to pick something random. You can pick. That's horrible. I'm not using that. You could pick something. I mean, ideally, I'd want something here that's looks like studenty, you know, like a kind of a collegey looking font. But I haven't got time to go searching for one. Oh, exactly. Okay, don't matter. No, you can't have an @ sign on that font. So I want to make it Times New Roman. I know it's horrible, but it's just there for the purposes of the examples. You would obviously, make it smaller until it look right. Oh, obviously, you mess around with that all day. But also, what you're going to need on here is something called folio. Folios are your page numbers. There is a way to automatically set this up so it puts automatic page numbers on it, but you don't need that for what we're doing. So we're just going to draw a little box there, and we're going to type into it. So page number wise, you're normally not going to get double page spreads till you're quite far into the magazine. Let's say page 30, and this is called Thomas Rotherham Mag. Again, I would keep that the same font as whatever your masthead is. Now, at the moment, the text is flush with the top of the text box. We don't want that. So what we're going to do is we're going to change the text box options by right-clicking on it. We've got the text frame options, which is Ctrl B, which is another good shortcut. You use that a lot. Now, this is going to need a bit of fiddling with. Make sure preview is selected, because what we're going to do first of all is we are going to align that text to the center of the text box. Now, we can see that we want it to line up with that line there. So what we're going to do is we could move the entire text box over. In fact, I think we are. We'll ignore that. We'll just move that over there. Like that. It's a lot easier. I'll show you something else different in a minute. Another thing we could possibly have, well, we could have that on both sides, but not all magazines do. You might be better off having something like a web address or something in there. We're going to have something called a running department head. Move that down there. A running department head is a section head that tells you what part of the magazine you're going to look at. So what we'll do is we'll draw a text box, just like we did before. I'll put it there, for example, and we'll call this, well, I don't know, student life, whatever. Ctrl A, I'll make it Arial, and make it black, so it stands out nicely. I know. But we want it in a coloured box. So what are we going to do? Again, right click, Ctrl B, remember, for text frame options, center it. But we want it to start at that line there. Now we know that that is 10mm in. So if I change the inset spacing to 10mm, not on the top left, that one there. There you go, lines up. Now let's adjust that a little bit. Right, now I want that to be white text in a blue background. So what am I going to do is I'm going to fill my text box with that blue we've been using. If I double click on this, I can add an RGB swatch. Okay, so that when I click on that, it will have that blue. There you go. And I want my text to be white. Blue and white are nice contrasting colours. They show out really well. There we go. Ah, lovely. Right, view, presentation. Obviously, I hate that font. I would change it to something different. I'd probably have it filling most of that and have a big bold deck going on in there with things like cover, like the photo credits and a byline, but we don't need to go all through that. That pretty much gives you most of the basics. The only one I haven't really talked about again is I could use that to do things like, I don't know, I might want a nice blue box, for example, separating different parts of a magazine. Again, I can just fill that with colour. Again, this is line tool, so you might, for example, have lines separating the columns. Can you see I've got like snap to guides that help me do this kind of stuff? There you go. So if I went on that, now it looks like that. So that gives you, escape, get rid of that, most of the basics that you need to be able to do a magazine. There's far more complicated things that you can do, but you don't necessarily really need those. One thing I might show you here is the effect box, so I can do things like drop shadows on them. So it looks something like that. Give it a bit of a 3D feel. But I don't want that. That gives you the basics that you need to know. There are other techniques you can learn if you want to do the more sophisticated things, but that gives you the basics. So you should be off and running. If you need any more help, you can contact me at robert.venn@tomroth.ac.uk. That'll do. Okay, thanks very much. Bye.